Hi Scorpio, how are you? It's me, Lauren B. Welcome to the Untitled Tarot. So today I am going to do your spread with the Prisma Visions Tarot deck, which I got last week. I'm absolutely adoring it. And I feel like you need, I was just choked, so thanks Scorpio. I feel like you need like a little pep talk this week, Scorpio. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm sitting here, I'm trying to vibe out with your energy, but honestly, you don't feel like vibing. You just don't feel like you are vibing. It feels like you don't want to vibe. It feels like you want no part in any of my shit. And I'm sitting here and I pulled out the Shufflemancy for you. For those of you that are new here, Shufflemancy is a form of music, divination, communication. I'm clairaudient. That's how spirit likes to talk to me. And you got this song by James Brown called People Get Up and Drive Your Funky Soul. Get up, get yourself together, and drive your funky soul. And I feel like that's what you need to do, Scorpio. I feel like you need to get up. You might need to get yourself together, and you might need to drive your funky soul, because it feels like you're in a little bit of a rough patch. It feels like you might be going through a little bit of melancholy. It even feels like you might have given up. Now, it feels like you're still showing up, but it feels like emotionally you have given up. And it feels like Spirit's coming through today and telling you to not give up, but instead get up. Get yourself together and drive your funky soul. You need a little bit of a pep talk today. So I am here, whether you want to deal with me or not, I am here to deliver that pep talk for you, Scorpio. So I had a few cards fly out for you already. We're going to do your cards live in action. But let's pray, and then we're gonna deconstruct this energy, Scorp. See if we can't get you feeling a little bit better. Very good? Very good. Father God, thank you for bringing me and my Scorpios in today. I ask that you give me wisdom, clarity, and discernment to deliver these messages accurately for Scorpio's highest of love, light, alignment, and assignment. We praise you, we love you, we thank you always. We give you all the glory and the honor for these messages, to the utmost high. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen, Scorp. So, you had the Two of Swords pop up a few times in your shufflemancy, in your pre-shuffle, and it really wants to be looked at today. So if you notice in this card, he's got his eyes blindfolded, and he's got these two little swords right here, and it's almost the idea that he's trying to wave them at this butterfly, right? Like the butterfly, it's a good sign, like it's a good omen. So I'm wondering if, like, even if you're getting signs of life, even if you're kind of catching in encouraging or motivating messages or readings, it's the idea that you're kind of blinded to them. You don't want to hear them anymore. You don't believe any kind of positive reinforcement that is being given to you by spirit, or by spirit through other mediums such as readers or angel numbers, any of that kind of stuff. You don't really believe it. Now with this butterfly, like the butterfly is your friend, Scorpio, but you're kind of waving your swords around at it. And I think that you might have been in a situation that's been a little bit restrictive, you know, maybe spiritually or emotionally. It's been really challenging, and it's this feeling of not really knowing who you can trust anymore. It seems like people that are your friends, you don't trust them, and then people that you shouldn't trust, you're perceiving them as your friends, right? It's like you got to do a little bit of the Missy Elliott, kind of take that blindfold off and like really look at your situation a little bit, right? Because it feels like you might be making enemies out of people that have been sent into your life, that are supposed to be helping you, that could be encouraging you or motivating you to kind of stay on track. And there is this idea of like falling in with a bad crowd, a little bit like that. Now it doesn't have to be so like West Side Story, like so dramatic like that. I'm Pisces, so I'm a little dramatic, you know, as it comes. But it is that idea that it's like friends and foes. Like you might have your wires crossed a little bit. Like you might want to just like peel off a little bit of that blindfold and like really take an accounting of like the people that are around you, and really see if they are helping to motivate you, helping you to stay even disciplined, right? Or if they're encouraging your melancholy. That's something that, because you know what I mean? Birds of a feather. There we go. That's a better way for me to put it. Birds of a feather. If people around you are encouraging any kind of complacency, encouraging any kind of melancholy, you might want to rethink those relationships just for the time being. Another thing that really sticks out in this card is that it's winter, winter has come, Scorpio, and you are sitting here in a little tunic, right? So that seems like a really interesting and inappropriate outfit choice. So it's the idea of not feeling prepared for the elements in general. You might just like feel really unprepared. You might feel really unsupported. You might feel as though you don't have the resources that you need, right? But it also brings in the idea of being able to kind of perceive what season that you're in. Make sure that you are tapped in. You're very intuitive, Scorpio, and so often very intuitive people, we're really good at picking up other people's seasons, other people's blockages, what resources other people need to go into the next season, right, in order to make it through the other side. But we're not always so good about doing it for ourselves. And so there is an idea of needing to kind of, again, pull off that blindfold, look at yourself and really perceive like what season you're in and what resources you need, how to best dress for that weather, right? And so there is kind of going back to that James Brown song. It's like you kind of got to get up and you need to put yourself together. Like you need to kind of put on some pants. You can't be out here in a tunic blindfolded trying to swing at some butterfly. Like it just doesn't make any sense. It's like there's a lot of energies that are supporting you, that are rooting for you. There's even some people that you may be perceiving as nefarious or outside of your realm of realizing it, that actually are trying to help you. Again, I reiterate, if there are people around you that are feeding into any melancholy, any lack of motivation, any kind of level of like complacency, you need to be really mindful of that, because we do absorb energy from our environment, and it feels like it's really important for you right now, Scorpio, to have people around you in your vicinity that are encouraging you, that are helping you stay disciplined, helping you stay on track, really adding fuel to the fire as you go and you're trying to pursue your dreams, right? Because then this 9 of chalices comes out, this 9 of cups, and as I'm sitting here, right, I see you kind of moving into a little bit of a warmer climate, sitting here a little bit by yourself, but it feels separate from like the density and the heaviness and the confusion of this energy, right? And there's all of this light kind of reaching for a little bit more clarity. But as I'm looking at this light, it actually feels like it's emanating out of you as opposed to you observing it externally to yourself. And when I pull this card and I look at it, I'm getting the phrase commanding. You need to command your space, right? And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, your monthly reading for October, and that'll be linked in the description box for you, was talking about how you would set off on some detour and you thought that the detour was the path, but in actuality it wasn't the path. It wasn't like the rest of the way. It was just like a little pit stop, and you needed to go back and man your post. Again, you need to command your space. You need to become the dominant energy in your field, in your home, on your platform, like whatever it is that you're doing. It's the idea of you are incredibly internal. You're always going through these deep emotional and psychic transformations, but it's the idea that I don't know if you've realized like how heavily impacted you have been by the people in your environment, by collective energies, by stuff going on in the environment. It's the idea that you need to be the dominant energy in your space. Like you need to write like the rule book moving forward, that the light has to come out of you in order to expand. Otherwise, you're always going to be observing it happening outside of you and not inside your own life, because then the sun comes out after that, right? Which is really just confirming that it's this idea. And even if it's through like an act of self-discipline, which is a little bit different. When I did the Aries reading the other day, we were talking about the emotional body and how exploring the emotional body could not be seen as an act of self-discipline, but instead, not as a state of doing, but instead of a state of being. Whereas Scorpio, you have been in a state of being feminine energy for so long that it feels like you're being really in. Could you see me pulling it out of the ethers, like right into my little brain? You need to step more into your masculine energy, right? And take on more of the doing kind of energy, right? And it's so funny. They're saying the sun never goes retrograde, right? We're in all of these retrograding energies, all of that stuff. But sun, healing, heat, light, clarity, illumination, rebirth, beginnings, that never goes retrograde. That's always available for you, right? And you know, all these colors are kind of melting, that if you are able to kind of get up and get yourself together and like drive your funky soul and like really take a second look at like who is in your environment and who may be adding to your fire being squelched as opposed to your fire burning big and bright, right? Then you're going to be able to like melt all of that stuff off of you through this commanding of your space and create something that is so much more vivid and vibrant for yourself. Now that I'm looking at this, it's reminding me of painters who do kind of like the spill canvases. Some of you might need like a form of a creative medium in order to push through this energy, whether it is something that is like painting or sculpting or like some sort of crafting. For some of you, it's music, right? You need to pick up your guitar. Like you might need some kind of physical or creative outlet or medium in which to channel all of this energy into something that is more beautiful and lighter and allows you to step back into the role of being a co-creator as opposed to just a witnesser or a victim of circumstance. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Get up, get yourself together, drive that funky soul. That song is really cool though too. I don't know if I'll link it in the cards for you at the end of your video. He actually goes through all the zodiacs, all these zodiac signs. Scorpio, get yourself together. 10 of Pentacles, this is what I'm talking about right here. Let me hold for production. I like to sit in here for a minute. You know, I'm pulling in this really strong message, Scorpio, that sometimes you have to remind yourself that you didn't come this far to just come this far. It's like I was saying in the beginning, there is that idea that you're still showing up and like doing your thing, but it's like at an emotional level, you've kind of given up. And you didn't come this far just to come this far. And you need to kind of pick yourself up and like finish your walk is what I'm picking up real strongly. You need to finish what you started. You need to finish your walk. Like, don't settle. Don't go for second best. Don't give up on your dreams. I know the going gets tough. I got a summer house on the going gets tough block. But like, there's something special for you here. And it feels like the whole package. Right? There's all of this beautiful illumination. There's all of this growth. There's all of this abundance. This is something that extends not just for you, but also past you into your family and into your community. This is being sustained. This is being able to provide for yourself. This is having a continual harvest. This is what we're all working towards as a collective. More so than we're working towards the 10 of Cups, we're all working towards the 10 of Pentacles because it's materialized into the natural. But things are established in the spirit. And so when we give up on things or we stop believing in them or we allow ourselves to fall into complacency, which again happens from time to time, but when we sit in that vibration for an extended period of time, we fall out of agreement with what was promised to us or what we're working towards. And then we get frustrated when we don't see any developments, but you have to, in the spirit, come back into agreement with it before it can link up, right? Those two opposite ends of the pole, and then it can come down. Whoa, come back. I see you. Come here. The Knight of Wands. Yeah, it's almost like overtake you. It's like you have to let the spirit overtake you is a little bit of what I'm feeling there. If you see, there's a man right here, and he's being overtaken by the fire. It's, you know, and it's connected to the sun energy. It's like getting your engines relit after they've been left to cool for a long time. And here you are. Death. The thing is, Scorpio, is that it doesn't feel like your project, your path, whatever it is that you're working towards, that's not the thing that's dying. But the approach that you've been taking, the attitude that you've had towards it, a sense of like despondency, that is the thing that has to end for you. And you have to be reborn as this bigger presence, as a more commanding presence. Because it's a level of self-belief. What that commanding is, it's not overpowering anything or anyone else. It's not sitting in ego and hubris. But what it is, it's this unshakable sense of self-belief, belief in justice, belief in the process, right? That will allow you to sustain yourself within any climate. And it's making me wonder, and it's kind of bringing up a message I got in another one of your readings, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that maybe there are people around you, because they're bringing me back to this Two of Swords with, there might be some people in your environment that you may not be seeing as friends, and I'm wondering if it's because they're holding this level of like consumed by fire in like a good way. They have this really kind of bright, expressive, like commanding presence, and there's something about it that annoys you, which is something that we talked about in, again, it was like the last one or two of your readings. And it was about how, like, there was someone in your vicinity, right, whether it was physically or online or whatever, and Spirit kept bringing them up to you, and it was really irritating to you, but it was something about that person's process that was trying to be highlighted to you, because it was a process that Spirit was trying to get you to go through as well. And so there's something interesting about that. Again, it has to do with people that you talk to a lot, people that are in your energy, people that are around you, that there may be people that you may be perceiving, right, as like some sort of enemy, or they're annoying you or triggering you, but actually they're this butterfly, and it's this orange butterfly, right? They're this representation of the transformation that you are trying to be encouraged to go through as well, so that actually you can meet your end goal. But I'm also hearing your ends meet, so you can meet ends meet. You can meet ends meet because you've been struggling. Because this Fool card is coming out, and in this deck, this Fool card talks about girl bossing like a little too close to the sun. Like, this pelican went out looking for resources, but he ended up moving a little bit further away than he thought he was. And now he feels a little luck, and he feels a little luck. Interesting. He feels little luck. Now you're feeling like you only have a little bit of luck, like, left for you. He feels a little lost, right? Maybe what I thought was my hero's journey is actually a fool's journey, right? Maybe this is an exercise in futility, and it's not. It doesn't feel like it is, but it does feel like you have to, again, you have to complete the process. You kind of stopped, you stalled out mid-process. It's like you don't gotta go home, but it's like you can't stay here, Scorpio. And that's the funny thing, is that this Ten of Pentacles is right in between this lost pelican and this blinded Two of Swords, that you don't even realize like how close you are. But you have to get up and you have to keep walking. Six of Swords, look at that. To transition, follow the butterflies. Here are those butterflies again. And they're orange. And the thing about orange butterflies, what they represent is obviously metamorphosis and transition. But the particular significance about an orange butterfly is it talks a lot about frustration, anger, a lot of that friction, right? And transforming it into fuel for your fire. And that's a lot of what this is charging up those engines again. And the Six of Wands, right? Which one, traditionally it talks about success and expansion and all of that kind of stuff. But in here, she's in a boat, right? She is actually moving through. And because she's on the water, it talks about moving through these denser, heavy, chaotic emotions. Again, some of this complacency or despondency, which can be a form of self-sabotage, right? And so that's something that we really need to look into. But part of the theme of the Six of Wands, particularly in James's deck over here, is that these wands are resources that she needs, right? See how they almost make like this little teepee sort of thing? But when you actually look at them again, they also make these Roman numeral for tens. They make these little X's, right? That it's like you have everything that you need to complete whatever detour that you've already been on. And as I'm looking at the last 2 weekly readings I've done for you, as I'm looking at your monthly reading, there seems to be this big general theme about the fact that there's a little bit more effort, a little bit more self-belief, a little bit more confidence that really needs to be interjected into your situation in order to see the transition and the change that you really want. And it seems like you get like a second wind and you move really close to the precipice of it, but then you kind of back off of it. And it's the idea of them needing you to actually make it off the edge of the cliff, because you do know how to fly. You do know how to fly. And again, I'm being reminded to tell you that you haven't come this far just to come this far. Like, you have to know that in your heart, that it ain't over for you until the ending is good. And then, I'm seeing this Five of Swords at the top of the deck. And again, I think that your environment is having a bigger impact on you than you're realizing. This is why people that are energetically sensitive, and listen, I'll call a spade a spade. When you're energetically sensitive, you have to be mindful about the people that you have in your environment. Because if you have a lot of naysayers, if you have a lot of gossipers, if you have a lot of people that are always going to tell you, yeah, it's fine, just don't worry about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just sit there, like, the energy will shift. Like, sometimes that energy is cool, but at the same time, you also need people around you that are gonna go, no, Scorpio, like, get out there, show yourself, show your stuff, like, you can do it, push through, persevere, I know you can do it, because you will absorb that energy and you'll go, hell yeah, you know, I can do it, I am gonna do a little more, I am gonna believe in myself, I am gonna push through, right? It's important who you have around you. It's important what kind of stimulus that you're absorbing, because it will impact how you feel. And I think that your environment, or particularly the people within it, are, again, there's some of them may be squashing your fire and you may not be realizing it. And you need more people around you that are going to help stoke the flames of your passion. You see the wind picking up? That are going to help stoke the flames of your passion and your belief in yourself moving forward. Because the thing about this Five of Swords card is that all of these other people, they're engaging in battle. They're you know what I mean? Like, they're going through it. But there's this one guy right here, and what is he doing? He's following the butterfly. He put his swords down. He's deciding to leave this environment and find something that's a little bit different, which is why in this Six of Swords card, the thing about this deck, which is really beautiful, is all of the suits, swords, pentacles, chalices, etc., they make a portrait when you put them together. Do you see? And he's following this butterfly across the bridge, away from people that are adding to the confusion, adding to the chaos, adding to the struggle, and instead following the transformation over to the other side. And very similarly to how in this Two of Swords card, you decide to finally move into a warmer climate, it's the same thing here, that in this Five and Six of Swords, you're moving through this tundra and you're deciding to move where the ice has melted so you can actually transition to the other side. It's a lot easier to travel in warmer climates than it is cooler climates. The High Priestess, right? So I'm not totally wrong. And you see your feet? You see your little feet moving? And it's, you know, it's something interesting that she's moving in the night. And in particular, again, in this deck, and I'm mostly an intuitive reader, but I do like how non-traditional this deck is. What the High Priestess also talks about here, it talks about being really kind of quiet about your plans, right? Things you're working on, processes you're going through, transitions you're trying to make, and intentionally not sharing all of that information with everyone, particularly if you're in a phase right now where you may be reorienting some of the people within your circle, right? That seems to be highly important too. It's even confirmed in this Five of Swords card. He's not letting everyone else in this environment know that he's actually following transformation when they're busy doing whatever it is that they do. He kind of sneaks out the back and he goes and he goes forward and accomplishes what he needs to go and accomplish, right? To go get himself together so that way he can drive his funky soul. The Magician card. Look at this. You're doing it in the moonlight. No one can really see you doing it, but it feels like you are. You are learning how to manifest. You are learning how to alchemize your energy in a different way. Or at least that's what's being asked of you, right? That's what's being asked of you. Is this magician is commanding his space. He doesn't have a tool. He doesn't have like a table full of tools, full of candles, full of this. He is the tool. He is the magic. He's not calling it in. It's the same thing in this Nine of Chalices, that you're not observing the sunlight outside of you and trying to draw it within, that you are the light, that you are the one commanding the space. It is your energy that is the dominant one. You are the tool, but you have to transition out of the environment or away from some of these people that are trying to dull the sharpness of your blade. So that way you can drive your funky soul, Scorpio. So, this is what I have for you. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this was encouraging or motivating. As I said in the beginning, it sounded like you didn't want any of my shit, but I got a job to do. I'm here to show up and try and encourage you. If no one else is going to stoke your flames, allow me, Lord, put me in, allow me to be the one to do it. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this supported you in the process. I really don't want you to give up before the going gets good. I want you to be able to make it to the other side and see it. I am going to do an extended reading for you. If you're interested in your extended reading, the links will be in the description box. If you would like a personal session, energy clearing, coaching, anything like that, my info's down below. I love you, Scorpio. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to each other. I'll catch you next time.